What's going on, everybody? Patriots post-game show starts now. Where are those guys? Yeah, we're sorry in the comments. It's an Amazon game. It's a national game. There were interview obligations. Mike Vrabel, what? Did he have to go on the set with those guys? Greg, is
I
that
think
probably
so.
what happened there?
Yeah, I think so.
It delayed things a little bit. We're here now. Luckily, the Patriots took care of business on the early side. They wrapped this game up in a nice, neat, tidy fashion, beating the Jets 27-14 to improve to 9-2, 8 straight victories now on the season for the Patriots, who are in the driver's seat for, well, maybe not fully the driver's seat, but are looking really good here for a trip to the playoffs, potentially a division title, possibly a first-round bye. Who knows? Here, but again, everything coming up roses for the Patriots right now. Quickly let you guys know our sponsor, as always, is Prize Picks, #1 daily fantasy sports app in all of North America. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Download the app, code CLNS50 in your lineups. After you play your first $5 lineup, Prize Picks, it's good to be right. And of course, Omaha Steaks. Get yourself a nice box of Omaha Steaks delivered to your door. Go to omahasteaks.com for a 50% off site-wide sale and use the code Patriots at checkout for an extra $35 off your order. Greg, let's keep it simple. Patriots win 27-14. Felt like it could have been 100-14. Is this a good loss or an annoying loss to you? Like, are you satisfied with the win and the way they played? Again, these Thursday games can be kind of funky.
Yeah, I absolutely hate Thursday night football games, especially for these players and, what the NFL asks them to do, being on a plane in Tampa, playing in, 89-degree weather and humidity, and then 4 days later having to do it again. It's just, to me, it's ridiculous. I don't really read into these games at all. As long as you win, come out relatively healthy, and put together stretches of good ball, that's about all you can expect. And I thought the Patriots did all of those things tonight. I would say, the big worry was the Milton Williams injury, which I asked Vrabel about in the post-game press conference. And basically what he said was, if this was a different situation, like a playoff game or a really vital game, Milton Williams probably would have played. We did see him go back in. He gave it a try before halftime. He didn't love it. I think Vrabel then made a choice to sort of preserve him a little bit. He started to get treatment already so that he could take advantage of the 10-day layoff and be okay. So that was, really good news, for the Patriots. But, on the whole, I'm fine with it. I liked what they did. Drake Maye played great again, had stretches where, he looked like an MVP. The defense, after another opening drive touchdown, didn't give up a first down for the rest of the first half. So, look, at the end of the day, mission accomplished.
Yeah, and again, it's hard to look at it any other way. You mentioned Drake Maye. We're always going to talk about it, but for stretches of this game, he looked like the best quarterback who's ever played. Other stretches, again, some mortal moments, but it felt to me, so this was one of those, again, they could have really blown the lid off this thing a couple of times. You had a couple of drops, which definitely hurt. You have Kyle Williams running the wrong route 6 or 7 times, it feels like. And like some things I'm not going to say like, oh, none of it was Drake's fault, but I mean, he was pitching a perfect game there for a little bit. It felt like, really seeing it well. Pocket presence was elite. I think that second half drive was one of the best drives he's put together, just from an individual standpoint. Just the way he was able to manipulate the pocket. I always use the Matrix analogy when Neo finally figures it out and the guy's throwing punches at him and they're moving in slow motion. Like that's what he just, had that feel where he could just see everything in the game. Everything was moving so slowly. He was able to do whatever he wanted. That was a master class. That ended up really being enough. But overall, your thoughts on just Drake Maye's day?
Yeah, I thought he was outstanding. Like you said, I think he had 11 straight completions to start a game, which was a career high for him. I think, Diggs had a drop. Mac Hollins had that. That was the place where the lid was about to blow off the place and they were about to blow out the Jets. That deep pass, it was perfectly laid in there. Hollins had it. The defensive back, Stevens, knocked it away at the last second. They complete that. The lid blows off Gillette Stadium. Everybody's pants off for Drake Maye. The MVP chants get even louder. But I thought he was tremendous. That drive, I think it was in the third quarter, where he manipulated the pocket like 3 or 4 different times, had the pass along the sideline, the Josh Allen-like play, back-to-back plays to Diggs. He had Hollins. Then he finds TreVeyon Henderson. It was outstanding. The guy's heartbeat, I would love to have the access to the catapult system to see if his heartbeat ever raises, because I just don't think it does. No matter the situation, he was coming through in 3rd and longs. Again, it's like routine at this point. You're like, oh, 3rd and 12? Whatever. They'll pick it up. And oftentimes they do. It's just, I thought Drake was outstanding again.
It is crazy because it almost gets boring to talk about it, but they're laying it on thick in the broadcast too, because what else are you going to say? Like, it doesn't look like a guy playing his 23rd NFL game or whatever it is. It looks like a 7 and 8 year veteran. And that's what's weird is, like, is he fully baked right now, or is he still scratching the surface? Because it still feels like there's many levels left to go, but he's playing with, again, the poise of a multi-year veteran.
Yeah, he has so many more levels that he could go up. It's really scary. And, let's also point out, I thought the pass protection in this game was really good overall. I know they made a big deal out of it on the telecast, and I know they're trying to pump up the Jets a little bit. And, Will McDonald is, okay at end. Jermaine Johnson is okay on the other side. They're not slouches, but, it wasn't exactly a big challenge. Get some chips. They have nothing on the defensive interior, so you can sort of, make your attack, make sure you're square on the edges. And then, Drake doing Drake things in the pocket to sort of buy a little bit more time is just outstanding. But you're right. Did you enjoy the Kyle Williams era? The one pass that it lasted? I mean, he was 0 for 3 today, and, like, I don't even think that does it justice. Like, the 3 attempts weren't even close. Like,
no.
If Tom Brady was here, Kyle Williams would never see the field again.
Never, ever, ever. Yeah, it's a good thing that Drake seems to have more patience with his guys. And look, the first one you could put it on May. The deep ball, he floated that one maybe a little bit. Safety gets over. If he puts it out in front of Kyle Williams, maybe he runs under it. Maybe it's a different day for him. But that stop and go situation was terrible. You get 1-on-1 and the safety peels off, and he should have just taken off, and he just stops his route short there. So there's just they don't seem to be on the same page at all, Greg. And again, I don't mean to shift from a win into this, but you brought it up. It was going to be a topic on the show. Did you think you'd miss Kayshon Boutte this much? And I'm not saying not to take away from Boutte, but, like, Boutte was such a security blanket for May, and Kyle Williams. It's like they've never met before.
Yeah, I mean, to answer your question, no, I didn't think that we'd ever miss Kayshon Boutte this much, but that is in fact correct. I mean, they obviously have a rapport. There's very few times where they're not on the same page together, and there's a lot of value in that. And I think, just other guys have just, sped by him. And as soon as Boutte gets back, he's going to be back to being the number 5 wide receiver and barely ever playing. But at least they're getting contributions from everybody else. I mean, Demario Douglas came up big. Mac Hollins came up big. Of course, Diggs went over 100 yards. Hunter Henry, I'll be interested to see what his workload was in this game. Had to do a lot of work with Austin Hooper being down. They didn't promote a tight end from the practice squad. They decided to put Ben Brown out there as sort of a blocking tight end. Took some snaps from my guy Tonga, which I didn't really like. I was hoping for a Tonga touchdown today.
I think everyone thought that was coming today. It was going to be the blowout Tonga touchdown. It never got there.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought, we're nitpicking at a few things, but I thought the offensive performance was, pretty good overall, and I thought the guys up front did a respectable job, and it starts there.
Yeah, it was interesting, right? You went down a tight end, so you had to run a little bit more Westover, but they also ran 4 wide receivers out there sometimes, which in the first half I saw that a bit, which they don't do a ton in this game. What do you think the game plan was? Because the Jets typically are a man team. They played a lot of zone in the first half. Maybe they were trying to keep Maye into dink and dunk sort of mode in this game. What did you think the Jets game plan was for defending the Patriots, and how did the Patriots respond?
Well, I think that there's a lot of confusion on that team with all the, Sauce Gardner being down. They had some injuries, Quinnen Williams being traded along with Gardner. And, what it looked like to me was Josh McDaniels, at least in the first half. And it seems to me that Josh is one of these coordinators that almost has different game plans by the half. And in the first half, I thought he put a premium on stressing the communications of the Jets. Like he was using different formations and putting, fullbacks out and running backs out wide and changing where guys were. And you could see the Jets weren't really sure what was going on. And I think that they took advantage of that. I thought Drake took advantage of it. I think that Josh knows better than anybody, hey, if we check into this, then they're going to check into this. So, they're not going to be able to get pressure. They're not going to be able to blitz, all that stuff. And so I thought all that stuff was really successful in the first half. It was a little clunky in the second half, but, I don't expect perfection, especially out of these Thursday night games.
Yeah, definitely. This was also, I guess, game 2 fully of the TreVeyon Henderson lead back, situation here. And, he legit carried the load the whole time. The first game that Ramondre was out, you saw that they were trying to maybe use, Terrell Williams a little bit as a lead back here. Henderson right now with Ernest Johnson, really the only other guy, is clearly the guy. And again, a mixed bag just in the sense that, he gets the ball 19 times in the backfield. Again, so a little bit over 3 yards per carry. I don't know how much of that's on him, how much of it is on the fact that they can't block it up as much. It was slightly more effective than last week if you take away those 2 big runs, at least on a yard per carry sort of situation, but it's still not super impressive. The fantasy guys are going to love the 3 touchdowns, and that's great. And he had a couple of, good decisive runs, but overall, that run game's still not going the way they want it to go. And again, I'm not sure, Greg, the way you look at it, is it a byproduct of what's happening with the guys out front, or is Henderson not the type of guy that can really carry the mail?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, I don't think certainly.
And it wasn't bad, but yeah, it's still not what you want it to be.
And I will say, Henderson, I thought, excuse me. His second touchdown run to me was really impressive. It was
really good.
The first time that we've really seen him have some patience and, not just run up into a hole, sort of, just be under control, let things develop, and then sort of hit the afterburner to hit the hole. So the more he can do that, the better he's going to be. I didn't think it was that great overall. I will say he ran physically, which was good.
Yep.
He held on to the ball. The whole offense didn't have a turnover, which is probably, would have flipped this game. Drake had a couple turnover-worthy plays, but, nothing really egregious. And Henderson did a good job running physically, but also holding on to the ball. So, it was decent. I just, it was a step for him. It was a baby step, but I know he's a threat to break a run every time, but does that make him like lead back material? No, I still think, Mike Vrabel really wants Ramondre Stevenson back and to hold on to the football and then, have a thunder and sort of lightning thing going on between the two of them.
Yeah, as has been the case all season long with Maye, there's a different, favorite target all game. Each game. It was Mac Hollins last week. It was Stefon Diggs today. What was wrong with the Jets? Could they not see the number 8? It feels like every time Maye threw to Diggs, he was open by 7 or 8 yards. I don't know. He's just kind of getting in behind zone, but whatever it was, he seemed to be open all day long, but also he was there when Diggs needed him for a couple of big catches as well. You had that really fun one. It was 2 catches on that drive we talked about in that second half where he went to Diggs there, one of them on that little scramble dump off where he drew the defenders there. But Diggs was the guy today.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's the Jets. I know in the first half, I didn't look at the final, but they played a lot of zone in the first half. I want to say it was 83% in the first half, and he's gonna thrive in that. Plus, you combine Diggs's knowledge of sitting in zones with Josh McDaniels' ability to motion guys in different ways and switch alignments all of a sudden to confuse the secondary. It's tailor-made for a guy like Stefon Diggs, and so that was really good to see.
Yep. We talked earlier, Milton Williams going down. As you said, he could have come back. He was there in the tunnel with Vrabel greeting guys after the game. 10 days off. I'd be shocked if he misses a game, but we'll see what happens there. But what did you see from the Patriots defense, particularly the defensive line after he went down? You could definitely see how much they missed him there.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to miss a guy like Milton Williams. He's been terrific this year, especially like the last 3 or 4 games. He's really stepped it up, especially when a guy like Christian Barmore was and Harold Landry were both kind of, sliding off. Barmore did have a sack today. I think he stepped up a little bit with Milton Williams down. They had a pretty heavy rotation, which they normally do. Didn't have Josh Farmer today, which hurts a little bit. I thought Jack Gibbons at linebacker was really good again. Had a huge tackle for a loss against a screen that he sniffed out. They got, Craig Woodson fell down on a touchdown. I thought Hawkins had some good plays. Del Pettis, coming off the bench. This is like 2 or 3 straight weeks where he doesn't play very much, but all of a sudden he's impactful. He had a couple of huge stops today, including on 4th down that clinched the game. So they're really getting contributions from anybody, but we do have to mention the fact that the Jets absolutely stink offensively, especially Justin Fields as a quarterback. The guy, I don't think he can throw it past like 7 yards. And that might be generous. He missed some easy throws. About the only thing he could do was run with his legs. The Patriots weren't great against that, but they were really stacking down. I know they played a lot more man covers than they have in the first half, and I think they were just like, we're going to shut down the running game and just make Justin Fields beat us with his arm, and he can't do that.
Yeah, I guess that's not really relevant to the Patriots, but how did the Jets land on this? Like, how did they start the year thinking that this was the good plan or the right plan? I'm so perplexed by this. How much more of Justin Fields do people need to see to recognize not only should he not be your starting quarterback, that he just shouldn't be a starting quarterback like anywhere. Well, I don't think he should be a quarterback.
I will say, AD Mitchell, who just got here in the trade, had like 3 drops. I will say there was his last drop, the one that was over the middle. That's just typical of what you get out of Justin Fields. Like, I'm watching it from the press box, and that dude was open like 2 beats before, nobody around him in the middle of the field. And what does Justin Fields do? He holds in another beat, and then he throws them into traffic, and it's a much tougher catch to make. So, I don't know. For years I've argued with Felger about Justin Fields, and I keep telling him the dude is he's not good. He's never going to be good. So stop trying to make this happen.
Yeah. And so, again, when you look at the Patriots and how quickly they ascended in the AFC East right now, it's also interesting to see everything crumbling around them. And we know the Jets are in full tank rebuild mode. The Dolphins might not be far behind them. And so it's amazing how quickly the script flipped on these situations. And again, how fast it can get away from you. The Jets 2 years ago seemed poised for their kind of ascent up the AFC East. They had the roster in place. They had the right guys. They had big play guys. They're signing guys like Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner to second contracts. And it's completely gone to hell here. And a lot of it has to do with the quarterback, which thankfully the Patriots do have. Couple other things we'll talk about, and we'll let you go. We're going to welcome in Taylor, Kyles, and Mike Kadlick to join the rest of the show. Anything we have not talked about, Greg, that you wanted to discuss, things we missed about tonight's game?
Well, I
things
thought
things that you liked.
Well, yeah, I mean, the one of the only paths to victory for the Jets was going to have to be a big special teams day, and they came in with the number one special teams in DVOA. The Patriots pretty much shut them down today in that regard, so that was big. I will point out one of the things I didn't like in this game was the whole sequence before the end of the first half. I think in some of these games they're
too cute.
Vrabel and John Stryker are way too obsessed with the clock and ending the half with the ball and all that stuff, where you have to look at it on the other side where you can be like, well, like, let's press the issue. Like, what's Justin Fields going to do? Like, let's have a little bit more urgency before the end of the first half. They had 9 seconds left and 1 timeout. You couldn't get a little closer or take one shot, into the end zone. So, didn't love that. I mean, even the week before against the Bucks, when they were obsessed and they almost blew it, going on 4th down, that whole sequence, like, hey, maybe you give it back to the other team like the Bucks and maybe they get aggressive and maybe you make something happen. Maybe you get a turnover and then you score points again. So I just think they're a little too obsessed with the clocks at the end of the first half.
Yeah, I didn't understand that either, and I tweeted it during the game. It's just you never put yourself in a position where you could even threaten taking a shot at the end zone because you messed with the clock too much and you didn't give yourself enough time. You crossed midfield with 36 seconds left or whatever it was at that time, and then you put your kicker in a position to try to kick up, 45-yard field goal into, cold conditions, which didn't work out. But yeah, I didn't get that. That's exactly the point is, what's Justin Fields going to do? Like, there's almost no pressure on you at any point in the game here. You can do whatever you want to do offensively. You give the ball back to them. Big deal. Again, it's not...
I mean, and the thing was, they had the ball. I think it was like it was like 145. They had all 3 timeouts. They got the ball at the 46 because the idiot Jets had 12 guys on the field after a timeout. And then they advanced the ball like 20 yards. And they had a chance to really step on it, score. I think the turnover before the end of the first half a couple games ago had them a little bit spooked. But again, you have to weigh the competition. Justin Fields, and also, were the Jets really going to get home on Drake Maye? He had barely been touched at that point. So, just a little bit more risk, just a tad.
Yeah. And the last thing, it's not something to not like, but this trend of the first drive thing, touchdown, I never thought that this would happen with the Jets. You understand those teams that'll script up some plays and do some cool stuff and put it all out there, but they just ran it down their throats that first drive. And I was really surprised they converted 4 out of 4 third downs there. What happened on that? What's going on first drives in general? What happened in this one?
I don't know. I mean, I just don't understand some of the approaches that they come out with. Like, wouldn't you go into this thinking like the only way Justin Fields is really going to beat us is with his legs? So we're going to double down. I mean, how many more times are they going to give up the edge to Justin Fields? Like, they just made it a little bit, too easy for him. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously you could tell Vrabel's starting to get a little bit irked about this. He said something like, I need to remember that we also played some really good defense after that, but he's starting to get a little pissed. And I think the whole Ben McAdoo scripting the opening drive against the defense, I think that needs to be scrapped. Go with somebody else.
Yep. Well, 9-2 here. They're headed to Cincinnati, where they could theoretically face Joe Burrow. I doubt that that's the case here. And you're looking at a pretty favorable schedule the rest of the way, with only Buffalo as a tough one coming here. In Baltimore, I expect that that's going to be really difficult here on the road. But it's hard to see this team falling short of 12 wins, Greg, this year, which is freaking insane considering where we were. I guess the last thing I'll ask you is, again, you don't put much stock in a Thursday night game. This was a take your take care of business sort of game. Anything. I mean, this was the week you fully embraced, you fully bought in, you capitulated. Fine, they're good. You still feel the same way. And
sure,
I guess what I want to ask you is not just feel the same way. Were we all wrong and they were better than we thought? Or is this just simply lightning in a bottle, crappy schedule, they're doing all the right things and getting it done? Or is it possible that they're just better across the board and it's not all Drake Maye than we gave them credit for to start the season?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a good team. They, if there were any questions, and I certainly had them and wondered how much they were artificially inflated, it was answered in Tampa Bay. And again, Tampa wasn't at full strength. I expect Tampa to be a force come the playoffs once they get people back. But that was a really good, hard victory down in Tampa. I mean, as long as the Patriots continue to have terrific health, then they have enough at every single position. So as long as that keeps up, they can compete with anybody.
Yep. Thank you to Greg Bedard. For those of you out there that aren't already subscribing to the Boston Sports Journal, you should. Of course, that is the Greg Bedard digital publication that covers all Boston sports, the best Patriots coverage in town with Greg and Mike Giardi. $7 a month or $50 a year. Best deal in town, covers all Boston sports, not just the Patriots, but again, Patriots coverage is outstanding. Go sign up for a membership today. Read what Greg and Mike have to say on about tonight's game. Greg, we will see you next time. Thanks, bud.
Sounds good.
Yep. We're going to be joined by Mike Kadlick and Taylor Kyles in a second. We're just getting those guys set up. While we are waiting for that, we will let you know, again, our pals over at Prize Picks, they deserve some love. If this is your sort of thing, you're into this stuff, you like this daily fantasy sports stuff, you can't do better than Prize Picks. It's a super great app. It's very, very, very easy to use, very intuitive, and the sponsor of the Patriots postgame show, as well as the CLNS Media Network. Don't miss the excitement of this season. Regardless what sport you're watching, it doesn't matter. Mix and match sports. Play just football. Play the 1 o'clocks. Play the 4 o'clocks. Whatever you want to do. Pick more or less on 2 to 6 different player stat projections. Win up to 2,000 times your cash. Lots of great features on Prize Picks as well, including injury reboots and flex play, where you can cash out early. There's also free squares. Tonight's was Drake Maye, 0.5 passing yards. What does that mean? It's a gimme. You just put it in your lineup, and it makes it much easier for your lineup to hit. Those are going on all the time. There's a lot of other cool offers and promotions, Taco Tuesday, Flex Friday. But what matters most is what you see on the screen right there. You use that code CLNS when you download the app. You get 50 in your lineups when you play $5. Once again, download that Prize Picks app. Use code CLNS, get 50 in your lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it is good to be right. As we said, as promised, and let me get it out of here. Where is he? Guys, are we ready to go to you? Almost ready? Look at these guys. Get them on here.
Hey.
No, you guys get
not
to be
the big.
big.
There you go. There you go.
You guys get to be big.
What's
guys.
up, John Zannis? How are you?
How we
happy,
done?
Happy
How we
Thursday
done?
night, Friday morning. Another Patriots win.
You know
Almost
what they
knocked me out of my
did for
seat.
us? You know what they did?
What's that?
They panned right a little bit.
Oh yeah, we're a little,
Oh,
we're
yeah,
a little
we
off
are.
kilter.
What do you got for us? There we go.
They panned right a little bit. Yes.
There we go.
That's
How's
what they
that?
did.
We straight. We center. There we
You
go.
guys are so good. You guys are so good. I will say this. It's not that late because the Patriots took care of business in tidy fashion here. And again, the result was never in doubt. You knew that they were going to win this game. It would be shocking if they didn't. But I asked this for Greg. I'll ask it of you guys. Is this a good win, or is this like I kind of wanted them to really beat? Because I think a lot of people felt that this was going to be one of these like 45-3 Drake Maye throws for 380 yards and 4 touchdown passes sort of games, and it was kind of annoying in the sense that like they hung around. This game shouldn't have been 21-14. they still ended up winning. And again, I felt it was comfortable the whole time. I was never really concerned with it. But your overall vibe on the win itself, in terms of the quality of it, are you guys pleased with it, or like, it wasn't their best effort?
I don't think you can ever overestimate the value of a win on a short week against a division opponent. These games are very rarely as straightforward as you think they're going to be. And I came into this game thinking that there were some vulnerabilities that the Jets could potentially exploit. They came in here with the best return unit in the NFL, one of the best running backs in the NFL after the Patriots' run defense didn't really live up to its standard in the past 2 weeks, even though they were still pretty good. Actually, no, last week they were just flat out bad, even when by league standards. So I really didn't know if this was going to be a blowout. I didn't think they were going to lose, but I thought this one they could keep close. And we saw it was close by halftime, but the Patriots did what they needed to do, got points at the end of the game, ran the ball when they needed to as well. So yeah, I mean, I don't even think this is an ugly one. I think this was a pretty convincing win where once you really started to get some momentum, it didn't feel like they were really shooting themselves in the foot as much as maybe they have in some other games.
The game didn't feel as close as it was. And granted, it was 13 points, but there were times where, the MVP chance were rocking. Drake was obviously, and I know we'll get to him, making throw after throw after throw. The place was going nuts. But then they would come just a little bit short, or they would have to kick a field goal, or at the end of the first half, Borregales misses a field goal. Yeah. And that kind of made it, frankly, I think the score closer than it was, but this still felt like they were in control the entire game. Like you said at the beginning, John.
Except for that first drive. I'm a little nervous.
But even then, though, the result was never in doubt. My brother texted me when that happened. He's like, I was like, don't worry, it's fine. Like, it's going to happen.
It's a Patriot tradition.
And, of course, it was good. So I do think it is ultimately a good win. And for echoing what Taylor mentioned, where you're just trying to get a win when it's a division game, never mind on a Thursday night. Like you're on 4 days rest. Robert Spillane talked about how when they came home from Tampa on Sunday, they went straight into the cold tub, straight into the sauna, straight into the hot tub, and got ready immediately for this week. They didn't even get to go home and kind of they came to the facility and rested up at the facility to get themselves going. So any way you come out with your 9th win of the season and sit here as the best team in the NFL record wise, that's the way you got to do it. So would fans, and I guess would we watching it, like to have been a little bit more convincing? Sure. But at the end of the day, you're 9-2, and now you get a little bit of rest before you continue the stretch run here.
And also, just to add to your point on how they immediately started trying to recover when they got back from Tampa Bay, Mike Vrabel made sure to credit the trainers and the staff for getting these boys ready and helping them recover on a short week. So also wanted to give a shout out to them because, I mean, this did not look like a team that just came off a game where Mike Vrabel's outside the locker room saying you earned the right to be tired. And also, just, I don't know, this is kind of a bigger point, but one thing that Mike and I were talking about was how many teams are hungrier than the Patriots right now? You've got Vrabel's guys that he brought in who he knew were hungry, and then the guys that were able to survive the culling of the Patriots roster who'd been here for the past couple years or 1 year and had seen the quality of this organization go down and were just sick and tired of losing. And I feel like you see that every week where they're going out to practice in the cold because Robert Spillane's like, we play in the cold. We hope that we're more comfortable and our play stays the same and the opponents play worse. And just the dedication these guys have to each other, continuing to win. It's the stuff that I feel like I was in the locker room, but I feel like it's the kind of stuff we've seen from the Patriots championship teams. Like that 2016 team, I remember how close they were, and that felt like a sincere family, and you get the exact same vibes in this locker room. I think that was the best and most kind of buzzing locker room I've seen in my time on the beat.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's good stuff. They're out. Go ahead.
Tonight it was?
Yeah, like I went in, I was like, wow, I feel like, I think maybe that was reporters or whatever, but I just felt like it was more talkative. There was a great vibe, and it's not like it's been bad vibes in the locker room by any stretch of the imagination, but it just kind of felt different, maybe because it is prime time. It's a big game, the Gronk night, division rivals, specifically the Jets, not just any division rival. So I don't know if there was a little something in the water or whatever.
You know what I think it is now that you kind of say it, we're talking about here is they were on a short week, and they have been. Alan Siegel asked Robert Spillane after the game, they've been at it since training camp here continuously. They haven't really had much of a break. They had the preseason games. They roll right into the season. Now they're through week 11. They have one of the later buys in the league. And so it's like, okay, let's just get through this Thursday night game with a win. We can all exhale. And then we have this weekend to look forward to, which again, Spillane said he expects a lot of guys in the facility, but they do get a lot of rest. They do get to kind of, I guess, let their hair down a little bit here, if you will, for the next couple days, and then get right back to it for these next couple. So I would say I agree with that as far as like, kind of the reason why this felt like not a laid back, but more of like a very accomplishing Patriots win.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, a win is a win. And Greg had said it earlier. It's really hard to take stock of these Thursday night games because they end up being like equalizers sometimes, like where bad teams keep up with good teams because the short week is weird and it can sometimes be sloppy, and you can kind of play down to the level of a crappy opponent. And make no mistake, the Jets are a crappy opponent. They're a crappy opponent before they sold off all their parts. Is Ahmed okay over there?
Ahmed, we can hear you.
He's getting no, I can. It's not hear him. It's just,
some minor mouth.
No, okay, you can't hear him, but no.
Okay,
okay, I'm glad. I'm glad you can't hear him, but no, the tripod's kind of messing up, so he keeps having to center.
I was wondering. I was technical difficulties. Yeah, no, it's all good.
We're in the windy season. The light's already fallen like 3 times.
Yeah, right.
Oh no! Put it on the Ahmed. Buy some weights. Hello. Buy some sandbags.
Yeah, I know.
It almost gets boring talking about how good Drake Maye is, but it's like it's getting stupid at this point. You're looking at a game that was nearly perfect with the exception of a few drops, a tipped ball, and we mentioned Kyle Williams, and he not being on the same page, which is a different topic, and we'll talk about that separately. But again, they're saying it on the game broadcast all game long, guys. It's like, this guy's playing like he's a 9-year quarterback. Like, you're watching it, and it's like, it's slow for him. The game moves slowly. Greg was joking too. Like, I want to take his pulse, when he's in the pocket. Like, your average person would be freaking the F out with all of these 300, something pound dudes coming around. And he's just like, I'm going to move here and bang. It's almost like, he's almost like bored back there. He's just got it, does nothing frenetic about it. He just kind of goes about his business. The feel is just exceptional. And again, highlighted by that drive in the second half that made it 21-7, just magician shit, but like on every play.
You mentioned off the top there how boring it's become to just talk about how good Drake Maye is. And I find myself saying it after every game. It's like, he's incredible. He's insane. He's the MVP. He's this. And nothing really changes. And I think today, the one thing that, I don't know if I noticed it a bit more, but it was the fact that maybe it was the angle we were at and the drive they were on, and then hearing it on the Amazon podcast too, how much of like complete control he is in the offense, where he's sitting back there. He's super calm, cool, collected. Like you said, John, it's slow for him. He's sitting back there. He's making checks. He's alerting the rest of the offense. He's identifying the mic. He's sending guys in motion to understand what the coverage is, etc. And Kirk Herbstreit himself said it on the broadcast where he talked to Josh McDaniels this week and said that, no, that we have put everything on Drake Maye's plate. This hasn't been a slow burn. He's doing all of this stuff, and he is in complete control. And you saw it specifically on that second half drive. I think he was 6 for 6, 60 yards, and then the touchdown to TreVeyon where it was a play where he steps up in the pocket, makes a guy miss, and it throws it over the middle and a little touch pass to Stefon Diggs. And then a couple plays later, he runs towards the sideline, kind of stops for a second, and then just dumps it off to him too. So he's in complete control. He understands exactly what the purpose of each play is. There's really nothing, at least tonight, to write home bad about Drake Maye. He continues to impress. He truly looks like he's playing the best football in the NFL. I can't really think of anybody else right now across the league who's playing better football than Drake Maye.
Imagine how he would have looked tonight if he had Kayshon Boutte also. Right. Understandably, his connection with Kyle Williams, not quite there. Looked like there were definitely some chemistry type throws where Kyle Williams is stopping around or continuing to go and Drake is throwing a different kind of ball. But again, like Kayshon Boutte probably catches a lot of those. You're talking about even crazier. Would that have been his first 300-yard game?
Yes, it would. If Matt Collins caught that, he would have went over 3 runs for the first time.
So close. But I was also really impressed by Drake Maye's poise in the past 2 weeks because I was kind of getting on him in our show. Like, as great as he'd been, I was kind of starting to back away from the MVP talk because he was putting the ball in harm's way. He's not throwing the ball at times and taking bad sacks, running into sacks. Like, there were just some legitimate concerns I had. But last week, I thought he took a really nice step back against the Buccaneers. And that was with Tampa Bay going with a very different strategy than what they had done and what any team had really done against Drake Maye, where a lot of teams are thinking, here's this young quarterback, let's try to heat him up and freak him out. Doesn't work because especially this Patriots offense, the way they handle the blitz, they do such a great job making sure that there's no mismatches. Like, you don't have running backs blocking big guys. Like, everybody has the assignment they should. Their eyes are where they're supposed to be. And the number of times you'll see Drake Maye with just a beautiful pocket because of the architecture of the pass protection, picking up the blitz, it's gorgeous. It's like not a controlled chaos. It just looks very well organized. But he hasn't really gotten blitzed the past 2 weeks because now teams are saying, Bowles started it, all right, we're going to drop 8 into coverage coverage. We're going to force you to hold on to the ball and wait till someone gets open. And because we don't think you're going to stay in the pocket, we're going to try to bait you into scrambling and then be able to come downhill. And with these athletic linebackers, you can do that.
Yep.
Drake Maye, I thought the pressure kind of got there last week, so I gave him some slack. But today, man, his poise was phenomenal. I think it wasn't since like the Saints game that we've seen him make so many incredible plays from the pocket with 2 hands on the ball, climbing, finding space. Even the touchdown to TreVeyon Henderson, he pumped short to Stefon Diggs to open. I initially thought it was just them looking at Diggs because he had dominated on that drive. Drake, subtle pump, and you see 3 defenders go downhill, and it gets TreVeyon Henderson wide open. And those are little things in Drake Maye's game that we don't even talk about all the time because it's hard to see when you're initially looking at it. And not even just the poise in the pocket and maneuvering pressure, which is incredible. It's something that guys that have been in the league for 10 years are still trying to figure out. But it's a natural thing. And you see that with Drake. And just he feels so comfortable being with Josh McDaniels. I'm sure gives him a ton of confidence. And having guys like Stefon Diggs who balled today and a few receivers that he can trust allows him to make those plays. We can kind of see the difference with Kyle Williams, where there is a bit of a disconnect, but the other guys, now with all the chemistry that they've built, is how he looks like he's just automatic. So I'm finding it's kind of like where you like almost like Brady in those teams where you run out run out of superlatives to use to compliment them because it's like, what else am I supposed to say? Yeah, they're really effing good. And this is just another week that it proves like this team is legit. And again, they are very hungry, and you see that in the ways that they improve each and every week.
Yeah, I mean the May stuff, you can't like say enough of it, and it is, we were joking about it a few weeks ago. It's like you want to say even more than you're saying. It's almost funny. It's like we're holding back because it's like a pinch yourself sort of situation. Like, is this real? I almost can't believe it. Like you saw, there's a lot of May files out there, and a lot of people who have decided he's their guy, or
Drake Maye lover.
There's plenty. You saw Orlovsky go out recently, and he talks about his top 5 quarterbacks drafted since 2020, puts Drake Maye once, and it's like some people consider that controversial. What are you doing?
He's backtracking so hard these days. Dan Orlovsky was not Team Drake Maye to start. He's backtracking now that he's good.
Hold on. In his defense, he was he was not Team Drake Maye coming out of college. But he recognized last year, earlier than a lot of people, I like this. So he wasn't out of the gate. But before, when people were waiting on the stats to catch up, Orlovsky was one of the ones who was like, I like a lot of what I see here. And he's been doubling and tripling down this year.
I was going to say now he's doing his happy dance because of that.
Now he's now, but it's not, this isn't about Dan Orlovsky. There's a lot of people out there.
I'm just being a jerk. I'm just being a jerk.
Yeah. No. I get it. Kyle liked when you're Taylor and you like everybody immediately, then you never have to worry about it.
I didn't like JJ McCarthy. I didn't like JJ McCarthy
because
when those rumors were flying around. You remember, I was kind of tweaking that day. I was like, dude, I swear if they pass up on Drake Maye, I am going to lose it. I was rooting literally in New York when Chad Riley missed that field goal. I was like, why is everybody upset?
Yeah, right.
We're about to get Drake Maye. Like, what are we talking about? So to be fair, I was on that bandwagon pretty early. Brian was first. I feel like I was close second.
I need to give Brian Hines gets the Drake Maye credit. He's like Drake Maye since he was in like high school at this point. The second
he took a time machine so he could like Drake Maye even earlier than everybody else.
Shout out Pat's Beat, shout out Brian Hines. The second the Patriots were even close to maybe being in like top 3, top 4 category, Brian was like, Drake Maye, he's our guy. Please bring him in. We got to give it to him. He was before Orlovsky. He was before Taylor. He was before me. He was before all of us. So shout out Brian there. Anyway.
He's the real winner tonight, if we're being honest.
Exactly.
It's good. Let's get Brian Hines out here and everybody congratulate him. But like, it's
somebody watching. Like,
he's somewhere.
Yeah. But
it comes down sometimes.
It's stupid at this point, and we're gonna play a soundbite from Will Campbell in a little bit, talking about it as well. It's just gotten silly at this point. How good he is, that it's almost difficult to believe that that's what's going on. And at this point, like, whether it's May has elevated, whether it's, Vrabel's vibes, you have to start thinking it's real. And you talked about the feel good vibes here. And again, you got to add to it a little bit with Will Campbell coming in and crashing Drake Maye's press conference earlier. And here's that clip right now.
In his reps, he wants to be great. just showing up every day and asking questions and get out of here, rookie. Sorry about that. But yeah, I think just
Rookie was feeling himself a little bit.
So
The best
that was
part of that.
the Drake
Best part
Drake Maye
is-
May. Yeah.
No, I'll just say the best part of that is like, what it was the point I was going to make before we hit the clip was, Drake Maye is 23 years old. Like he's doing this at an age where it's like, it shouldn't even be legal to be this good a quarterback at 23 years old. And it's funny that Will Campbell comes in and he calls him the rookie. Like he's so mature for what he is and the player he is. And on the Amazon Prime broadcast a little bit before this, I listened to a little clip of it. They asked Mike Vrabel, how much fun are you having? He's like, I'm having so much fun right now. And he looks at Drake. He's like, I can't believe this kid's the same age as my youngest son. I'm 50 years old. I feel old as hell. The left side of our offensive line, Will Campbell and Jared Wilson, are like 23 and 22 years old. I mean, this team is so young on the edges, I guess. And then there's also the Vrabel guys that you talked about earlier in the middle. But this team, the fact that they're 9-2 and playing this well, and they're so young and they have so much more in front of them is so promising and should be so promising. And I just think the interaction between Campbell and May there kind of exemplified it. The fact that, these guys are playing such good football at such a young age, at such a, I guess like the first turn of this rebuild. And the fact that they're doing it right now is just insane to me.
Yeah. And I used this comparison last week, just talking about how, you know what, I might have done it with Giardi when I was filling in on the Pats Interference show. And that's where we were talking about 2001 vibes, where there's a lot of buy-in and there's a lot of belief. And again, I don't give a crap who gets annoyed by this comment, but Drake Maye is miles ahead of where Tom Brady was in 2001, and they won a Super Bowl that year.
That's a dead fact.
Yeah.
It's a simple fact. Don't get mad. It doesn't mean he's going to be a better quarterback, but at this stage in his career, there were still Brady questions. Everybody liked his makeup and his moxie, but you didn't know if he was a game manager and what his ceiling would be, but there was a lot of great stuff and a lot of intangibles, and he gets all the credit in the world for what they did. But, a lot of the credit went to the coaching and the team and everything built around him. The comparison I made had nothing to do with the quarterbacks. It was really more that you didn't know how good it seemed fluky at the time, but you didn't know how good that team was until a couple years later. And you could be having those sort of vibes with the Patriots, which is, it seems surprising now, but in 2-3 years, when some of these other players who, not just the Campbells, or Henderson or May, who of, who are higher draft picks, TreVeyon Henderson, those guys being good, you expect those players to be good because, you drafted them to be good. But you find out that Ponder is a better guy, or, some of the other guys, Woodson, he didn't have a great game today, but whatever. Some of these other players that you might not have been heralded, or you didn't know what you were getting out of them 3-4 years down the road. You're like, oh, those guys were good. They were just early good, and we didn't really fully get it. So you never know if that's what's going to happen here, or you could end up being the Washington Commanders. And it wasn't that. So you don't know, but it does feel different. The Commanders felt fraudulent all year, riding the high of Jayden Daniels and what he was able to do there. This doesn't feel like that with this team. Would you agree? It feels a little bit more like there's something happening here.
I would agree with that, because last year there were a lot of those close games for the Commanders where they were close. Even watching them sometimes, I felt like Jayden Daniels and Terry McLaurin were really carrying things, and the defense would make plays at times. But I do think, I just think this is a better coach team. I don't think anybody would argue that Dan Campbell is a better coach than Mike Vrabel. I don't think I know for a fact that I hope that no one would say that Cliff Kingsbury is a better coach than Josh McDaniels. And that's where, when I wrote the whole thing about why I thought they should win 10 games, was because of that trifecta. And I said the Texans did it a couple years ago. The Commanders did it last season. I just didn't see what the Patriots were missing, that people were just like, hey, let's pump the brakes on 10 games when they're playing a bad schedule. That's even worse. Obviously, I think it's worse than a lot of people thought it was. But it just felt like they had brought in enough players to steady things out. Obviously, there were some things that you needed to bank on, like Stefon Diggs coming back, some of the young guys like Will Campbell working out, Jared Wilson working out. There were definitely a lot of unknowns, and I could still, I will admit that maybe that was a very optimistic view, but it was really the top guys. And we talk about it, the top down, that's where NFL teams have success. You have a former coach of the year. You have maybe the best play caller and offensive coordinator in football. In football history. In football history, we could say, in Drake Maye, with what he showed last last year, it blew my mind that people didn't think that he and Josh McDaniels would set this league on fire as long as they had enough like decent pieces like what they have now, where I don't know that all these guys would have the success they're having on other teams, but with Drake Maye, who's going to throw you open, who's going to give you some prime opportunities, and Josh McDaniels putting guys in positions to succeed where Drake has multiple answers on most plays. It felt like that was the recipe for success, and now they're outperforming that. So, yeah, I don't think this is like the Commanders. I think this is a team where, and even, I mean, the Commanders were still, like, people were talking about them being in the Super Bowl, but obviously the AFC is a lot tougher, so I think that plays a factor, where with the Commanders, it's basically like if you beat the Eagles, you can get there. But, I mean, even in a tough AFC, this feels like a team that could beat anybody depending on the Sunday.
I will say the pessimist that lives deep down in me still sits here sometimes and is just like, when is this going to fall apart? Like, are they going to?
That's the anxious boy in me, so I get that.
Are they going to lose 3 in a row here? Is the injury bug going to finally hit them? Like, and I look at the Commanders of last year. I look at those Texans from a few years back where the young quarterback shines. Everyone thinks this is the next best team, the next best thing. And I guess I'm trying to figure out the difference between the Patriots and them, and I don't quite see it yet. But I also don't necessarily know what tanked those. I mean, the Commanders this year is obviously, I would say, the injury to Jayden Daniels. The roster around him, I guess, isn't as good as it was last year. They have to dig a little bit more into that. But even with like the Mike Vrabel teams in Tennessee, where Vrabel has been awesome right now. I'm not taking anything away from him, but I don't know if it became stale in Tennessee. I don't know if it was strictly him and
Ryan Tannehill.
I was gonna, and that's where I keep coming back to is the Drake Maye angle to that too, where Vrabel had those guys bought in Tennessee, and it's like they just couldn't get over that hump. They were 9-7, 10-6, or the 10-6 area of the AFC playoff picture. They got over the hump one year to the AFC Championship game and then just couldn't get it done.
And they traded A.J. Brown and couldn't get it done.
And so there was a lot around Mike Vrabel, and I don't think it was necessarily his fault down there, but I'm just essentially I hope, and I hope and pray sounds a little far, but it's like I hope that this doesn't happen to this team because it's been so excited to cover them and see what's going on, and I hope they don't turn into the Commanders and the Texans. But even if they do, the Commanders and the Texans are still, relatively competitive teams are now. I just think that there is a little bit of a next level to the Patriots than there is with those guys.
I would agree. There is a next level, and we'll see how far they go. As far as Drake Maye, the crazy thing is it still feels like there's many levels to go. That's what's bananas about it, that like he's still scratching the surface of it. And his buddy Will Campbell, we saw him crash that post-game press conference in the locker room, just asked straight up about what he thinks about Maye as a player, and here was his answer.
Playing at an elite level, right?
Oh, hold on one second. I got to get Maye's smiling face off of the stage first, and we will bring in Campbell here.
Playing at an elite level right now. I'm biased, but I think he's the best player in the NFL. There's no game that we're out of when we have him. And, he's just, even though how good of a player is, he's an even better person and an even better teammate. So that just makes it that much more cool to, be able to share the huddle.
I love this dude.
And be friends with somebody like that. I just, look forward to the future and just continue to play with them and grow with them. And as we all continue to grow in this offense, and, he's got everything in front of him, and I'm super excited to be a part of it.
I just want
Mike
Drake
coming in over his head, I thought was like a bug on the screen or something. I had no idea what was going on there.
Yeah, I just want Drake to be my friend. You get the feeling that these guys are going to be like 90 at a fishing hole, and like, just hanging out. But I mean,
remember those
again,
Super Bowls?
Yeah. Oh,
Which
that
one?
was so fun. Yeah.
You want a Super Bowl, man? Be a lot cooler if you did.
Imagine how slowly and how thick that. Slowly he's going to talk how thick that draw is going to be when he hits 80
He's doing it
years
at
old.
21. And then we won.
He's going to be like the sloth.
All right, he's on Forrest Gump. Damn. He's like Jenny.
I can listen to Will Campbell talk all day. I love that dude. Here we go. We're gonna get there. But
hey, we have an interview with him, John. You can watch it as much as you want.
I love Will. But what's interesting to me, and again, you're talking about how they feel about him behind the scenes. people try really hard not to pump the tires of like super young players like that, right? Because you want them to stay humble. You don't want to say too much. You don't want to put too much pressure on them. It doesn't sound like anybody has any problem going right out and saying like, the kid's friggin' unbelievable, like, but whether it's Vrabel or McDaniels, like normally, and again, I'm not just talking Bill Belichick, who wouldn't even give Tom Brady credit after his sixth Super Bowl, that's a different level. But like most everybody's like, yeah, he's freaking unbelievable, and like Campbell's another one of those guys. As far as Campbell's performance, I thought he was pretty solid today in pass pro again, did a decent job. I don't know if the Jets pass rush was all that it was being talked up in the game. Maybe they just had to find something to talk about to make the matchup seem a little bit more, but they tried to get after him and they couldn't at all. He was pretty clean except for that, that one sack that he took late there. So I feels like those guys held up okay, but the run blocking continues to. Yeah.
Taylor predicted
the run blocking
game, no sacks.
It was close. The run blocking, however, and again, we'll talk about Henderson and his output here. And again, the 3 touchdowns are nice, particularly if you have him on your fantasy team. But the run game's still not like really getting it going, guys. What did you see from the run game tonight?
Well, first of all, you mentioned Will Campbell, so we got to credit him. 2 of those touchdowns were to his side. Yeah. He had some key blocks there, but
and that's
it was discouraging. Yeah, it is. And it was discouraging that the run game in the open field almost didn't exist. I think they had like a 7-yarder and a 4-yarder, but then they didn't get it done. So again, the run game is a tough thing to see at the same time. So I'll have to look back, but I will give them credit here. When they needed to run effectively in the red zone on that last drive, they were able to do it. I'm not going to lie. I had almost no faith that they were going to be able to actually get that done and get into victory formation. I thought that the Jets might get another crack to obviously not come back, but at least another crack to get down the field. And credit to the right side of the offensive line, TreVeyon Henderson. The right side did have a few really good pushes in the run game. There was the Giannis Johnson one where I think it came back for a hold on Jack Westover. So I thought you saw some more moments of positive ground game or relative to last week where you literally only had the 2 or 3 runs and the rest of them got stuffed or went for minimal gains. So at least it was a step in the right direction. Is this ever going to be a team, at least this season, that's going to be able to run the ball consistently? I don't know. But I will say one other thing. Ben Brown and Will Campbell have something special when they are blocking together. We saw this in the preseason. It was a bit boom or bust, but I think also all of TreVeyon Henderson's runs in the preseason came behind Will Campbell and Ben Brown, or at least a few of them. And then even when Ben Brown came and replaced Jared Wilson for a week, you saw like, okay, these dudes are like pretty good when they play together. I'm not saying Jared Wilson's going to get replaced or anything like that because I think he had some good blocks tonight as well. But I'd like to see more of Ben Brown because he gets some movement in the run game. And I was saying before the game, I thought we were going to see more jumbo sets with Austin Hooper out. That came to fruition, and I really did think when they did have positive runs, a lot of that had to do with Ben Brown being in the game.
And I will say too, the best part that I saw from the offensive line in the run game was that first TreVeyon touchdown where he got stuffed at the line of scrimmage a little bit for a second, and then everybody was just like, nope, we are pushing him right into this end zone. My buddy texted me, he was like, they're just going to push him right through the back end of the wall here and just smush him against the thing. But no,
bring him to the tunnel.
I thought that was incredible, and I think that just goes to show the hunger and the fight that we talked about in this team. It's like, we just want to go score. We just need to get this done right now. We're not gonna let TreVeyon get backed up here and everyone's gonna kind of stop me like, oh, this wasn't our play. No, there's still something here, and we're gonna get him in the end zone. I thought that was really cool. And Will Campbell after the game, when he spoke in the locker, mentioned that that's something they practice every single week. Where if there's a little a stop, I guess, right at the goal line, give everything you got, get him in the end zone, kind of tush push style there, and get it done. So I thought that was cool to see from them too.
And when Mike Vrabel at a press conference was like, "Yeah, that was really fun," like that's how you know that was a sick play.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show how hungry this team is. Where literally that's a touchdown. They wanted it more than you did. I think it was the same thing on the second one where TreVeyon's breaking tackles. Like, I don't know, the Jets. Well, I don't think this was a great look for Aaron Glenn, to be honest. There were some plays like receivers aren't finishing when they have opportunities. Like AD, we'll talk about the defense later. I thought AD Mitchell had way more opportunities than he and Justin Fields were able to take advantage of. But yeah, I mean, the defense just did not tackle very well for the Jets, and it looked like they looked like a team that was on a short week. But I didn't see that from the Patriots. And another thing I want to note: when's the last time the Patriots played well on Thursday night? I don't remember. If anything, all my memories of the Patriots on Thursday night in recent history are them looking like they were not ready and ill-prepared. Even with Bill, I remember towards the end of the tenure, it's like even Bill Belichick is kind of not playing well in these situations. Right. So even more credit to them. We talked about the quality of the win, IDGAF. They won the game. They won it by multiple scores, and it's the NFL, man. I don't care that this is a bad team. It was a convincing win and not one, as you said, where it ever felt like they were out of it.
And one last thing on that touchdown at the end. I think the cool part there where everyone talks about linemen don't get any love, they don't get any credit. The touchdown scorers get the credit, right? I mean, yeah, TreVeyon Henderson obviously did his best to to pump his legs and get in the end zone too, but he got stuffed for a second, and the rest of the guys came through and made that happen. So that touchdown is theirs, and the Patriots is just as much as it was TreVeyon Henderson's.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We don't know. It's a 10-day break here. And you don't know what's going to happen with Ramondre Stevenson. He did get on the practice field this week, and so did Kayshon Boutte, which leads you to believe that with a 10-day hiatus here, these guys both have a chance to return. How do you think the backfield shakes out when Ramondre returns?
I think it's going to be a 1A, 1B still. Because I don't think you want to run TreVeyon into the ground. And that's just the thing for me is he's very exciting. And when he has to carry the workload in a game like this, like obviously you do that. Mm-hmm. But one, it's not like Ramondre's bad by any stretch of the imagination. He's just not as explosive. And there are certain runs where I do think Ramondre's style is a little bit better than TreVeyon Henderson's. But to TreVeyon's credit, man, he has improved every week over the past 3 or 4 weeks. And like I'm tweeting out the stats and saying, like last week, he, in the past, I think it was 3 weeks, was second to only Jonathan Taylor in yards after contact. And we talked about it, I think, John, even us, he was one of the worst backs in the league after contact for most of this season before it started to look like he was getting more comfortable, playing more patient, running through tackles. Today, he was running like a man possessed. And even though last week, a lot of that was not stat padding, he did it. Right. But when you have 2 long runs, that's going to shoot your yards after contact up. But he was still near the top of the league. And this is another game where he was just not easy to bring down. So I do think that the Patriots can have more confidence in making him the true, whether it's 1A, 1B. That's always going to depend on the game plan. We know how Josh McDaniels works. But I still think that they're going to want Ramondre Stevenson involved, especially because we know what he can do in pass protection, and they love that. He is still good out of the backfield. He's a well-rounded player. Yeah. So I still think it's going to be running back by committee. But this is going to, like in the past, we were seeing some games where Ramondre was getting all the touches. Right. And it wasn't really a lot of TreVeyon because they couldn't trust him. I think that may be in the past.
Might you see, again, my hope when they drafted Henderson, knowing the style of back that he is, and he might not be an every down or a 3-down back, rather than using him strictly on 3rd downs or passing situations or as a change of pace, would have been really more kind of the Gibbs Montgomery sort of model that you see in Detroit there, which is really more alternating series. One guy can beat you one way, another guy can beat you a different way, but I'm comfortable playing each of them on early downs and third downs and passing downs and goal line. Just that I'm going to alternate it. Could you see that happening here? Or you think it's going to go back to situational?
I think. What about a little bit of pony personnel too? Go get them.
They were doing that before we got
hurt.
Yeah,
and I like rolling. That too. Yeah.
And I do think it. I mean, the only knock I've had this season, I think most people have had on Ramondre so far this season, is the ball security. And right, like he's great in pass protection. He runs hard. The explosiveness like TreVeyon has isn't necessarily there, but he's also not getting 1 yards a carry. He's not really getting stuff back there. He's just consistent 3, 4, 5 in a cloud of dust type of player on the ground. And then can be a little bit of a dynamic out of the backfield as well. So I don't think he's going to get demoted or benched because TreVeyon's playing well. If anything, this just gave TreVeyon more confidence, the ability to say I can go out there and play in the NFL and play great running back as an NFL player here. So I think you use both of them and you just kind of turn those guys out, whether it's back and forth, whether it's down by down, whether it's series by series. I think it turns once Ramondre is healthy. I know that running back feels like a short room right now. It kind of turns the running back position into an asset if they can both play as good as they played at points of the season.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it shakes out. One thing that we do know is that the return of Kayshon Boutte is going to be a big deal for these guys. You've felt it more than I would expect you would have, because to me, you don't think about one receiver as being critical as much as each one brings different things, and each week somebody new can step up. And Drake Maye has a decent rapport with all of them to an extent. With whether it's Hunter Henry, we've seen Mac Hollins over the last 4 or 5 weeks he and May really getting stuff going. Stefon Diggs, they've been on the same page all year. Of course, Hunter Henry, even Austin Hooper. Every single person on the roster, he seems to have a good rapport with, except for one, and that is Kyle Williams. And
like I said, before last week's practice, he had not caught a pass from Drake behind the scenes. Like, this is, I cannot emphasize enough. Like, most of the guys that Drake is showing connections with are guys that he was throwing to for the entire summer.
Explain that.
Kyle Williams was just making cameos. Oh, which specific?
Why? Why are they not doing? Why has he?
Because
not?
he was fifth on the depth chart when everybody's
always
healthy.
on the scout team.
Right.
Yeah, behind veterans, because you're thinking, like, think about it. When you're going through game plans, you only have so many reps to practice plays. And Kyle Williams is more of a rotational guy. So what you're going to put him in over Mac Howland, Stefon Diggs, Demario Douglas, Kayshon Boutte, all of those veterans who've earned their reps, who are able to fill multiple spots, and who have shown that connection with Drake, where in the summer we saw Drake and Kyle connect sometimes, but I don't think any of us were confident enough to say, oh, this is going to be a thing in the regular season. It was like, no, the veterans are really who he's shown the most comfort with. So I think people need to maintain their have reasonable expectations with Kyle Williams. He's probably not getting a lot of targets because even when he's in there, Drake's probably more often than not trying to go to the guys who deserve those reps because they're probably going to be getting a lot of those looks, and it's going to take time. So I understand it's frustrating. You want to see, Kyle Williams go Zoom every week, and I completely get that. Maybe you could scheme him some easier opportunities, but that's also kind of tough to do when Stefon Diggs is balling. Demario Douglas is taking advantage of his opportunities. Mac Hollins has been one of your best receivers over the past month. So, I understand some of people's frustrations, but it's very important to remember what has gone on until this point and how little Kyle Williams has really had a chance to gain the rapport with Drake Maye that others have because they've earned it.
Yeah, the Kyle Williams thing just doesn't – I don't want to say it doesn't bother me because, again, there was two plays specifically on this one where Drake tried to get him back shoulder and he kept running and didn't turn around in time. A couple series later, then Kyle Williams stops on what was sort of a read route and Drake throws it deep. So, like, that's the kind of stuff where it's just going to come with practice. Right. You just need to get chemistry on the same page. And it's kind of the same storyline as, like, Efton Chisholm, not to the same extent where, preseason darling, everyone loves Chisholm, thinks he's awesome. It makes the team. And I'm not saying Efton Chisholm isn't awesome, but they're not practicing with these guys every single day, so they don't get the same amount of reps. They don't get the same amount of, chemistry to use the same word again. So that's more of like whether it's an off-season thing or just a once next season when you don't know where I know Stefon Diggs is on a 3-year deal, but like some guys when there's trickle down in the depth chart, that's when those guys can kind of make their next step. So it's frustrating. You would like to see it happen more often. I think there's more, places, and Josh McDaniels can kind of pick his spots where like, the play to Kyle Williams last week that went for a touchdown, that wasn't really a read route. You don't really need to get on the same page with those guys. He went in motion, cuts across the middle, uses his speed, beats a guy, and then just runs for 6. Like, I think there's more opportunities for that, but the more, intricate pieces of the offense where he's having to read the defense in front of him and also stay on the same page as May, I wonder if you're going to see much more of that from Kyle Williams this year.
I don't think we're going to see that Kyle Williams much more at all, because again, when Boutte comes back, that's it.
True.
He
was still getting like a dozen snaps a game, to be fair. Like, he was on the field, but it's just, again, when the ball's not, I wouldn't expect the ball to be coming to him a ton.
Yeah,
he played 70% of snaps tonight. That's gonna drop significantly. It is a shame. Not ready yet to panic, but yeah, you really wish you'd see a little bit more here. It is frustrating that they're not on the same page. It is what it is. We're gonna,
and also I will say it's not for a lack. Really quick, it's not for a lack of effort, because I know people may think like, oh no, Jaylen Polk. I'm not trying to poo-poo Jaylen Polk necessarily, but like Kyle Williams, man, he blocks his butt off. You can see like he's getting open. I do not think this is a case of like, oh no, was he a bust territory? I do not think that's it. I just really want people to understand how hard it is for a receiver to gain chemistry with a quarterback, especially like Drake Maye, who is going to like throw you open. A lot of what he does is chemistry based. We've even seen him be off with Hunter Henry a couple times in the past 3 weeks. So these things happen. Don't be discouraged. Kyle Williams, the dude works hard. He does the little things. I feel like it's just going to take time. And even if it's next season, like you're 4 deep right now. Right. I think they're in a solid spot, even if I understand they're disappointed.
I think it would be more of an issue if he was a true, like, every down rotational player, more than he is, not rotational, an every down starter, and like other people on the depth chart were playing well, and he was getting the reps in practice. We're like, there's just no time for it.
Polk was getting the reps.
I know. But you'd like to see like again, I think with these guys, we had this conversation with Polk, you want to see something good mixed with some bad. The zero good is what kills you. And again, you had the one play that's a single play, and it was great. But Drake Maye made that with his throw, and then Kyle Williams just got to be fast with nobody in front of him, which was awesome. But you're seeing zero, and that's what's a little bit disheartening. Doesn't mean it'll always be this way, but you would have liked to seen a flash or two, particularly because he's out there, and when he's out there, you know that you have a weapon, you know that you have some speed, and you'd like to see them get the ball in his hands, and it just hasn't worked for one reason or another. So it's almost a missed opportunity here. I think being thrust into this position where he had to play a lot of snaps, I would have liked to see some good, some bad, but we saw some nothing. And that's the disappointing part, because he's just going to go back into mothballs now, and you're wait and see until next year whether or not you drafted a guy who's got. No, I know.
92.
This is really depressing, bro.
Like, the number one seed.
I think we're doing a lot. Can we move on to the defense?
I'm bummed.
This is a real downer right now.
I thought they were going to pop one to Kyle Williams today. I really did. I really did.
We're going to be covering playoff games, John. Come on.
Guys, come on. We've been going an hour and 10 minutes. Can we have 5 minutes where we don't like one thing? Everything's fine. You know what I like? I like steak. That's my nice comfort food. There it is. There it is. Omaha Steaks. You see it on the screen right now. Check it out. Great sponsor here on Patriots Daily. Enjoy USDA certified tender steaks, juicy burgers, convenient comfort meals, so much more, desserts, chicken, potatoes, whatever you want. If you're meal planning for the holidays or just want to get some steaks to feed your family, or grab some, have one every night, keep them in the freezer, and just every time you want one, bang, it's there for you. That's what I did. I'm working through my first box. I got a roast coming for the holidays, which is great. You can send it as a gift if you want. It makes a terrific gift. You can put that into your order. It'll come about 10 days before Christmas. omahasteaks.com. 50% off site-wide sale, an extra 20% off select favorites at omahasteaks.com. And when you use the code Patriots, you get an extra $35 off. Terrific offer here. Go get it done. Grass-fed, grain-finished beef, more marbling for exceptional flavor, the choice of steakhouses and professional chefs around the world. An exclusive lineup of USDA certified tender steaks, filet mignons, ribeyes, what have you, the whole gamut. It's an insane selection, so go check it out. Once again, save big with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com, 50% off site-wide, and an extra 20% off select favorites during that early Black Friday sale. And for an extra $35 off, promo code Patriots at checkout, terms to apply. See the site for details. Once again, 50% off at omahasteaks.com, promo code Patriots at checkout, 35 additional dollars off. Guys, let's talk about the rest of the game. What a terrific Stefon Diggs game. The Mac Hollins connection again is solid here. Anything we haven't talked about that you guys liked about today's game that you wanted to give people some flowers?
Christian Barmore's first sack of the season, a long time coming. Now, I will admit, the past couple weeks, yes, sir, and I will admit that he was 2023. Wait, what does that mean?
I think
back to his 2023 form.
I think he hasn't had a sack in 2 years.
Oh my God, you might be right. Wow.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. No, you might be right. So good for him. And I say long time coming because he has been very disruptive. The past 2 weeks, I don't think we're really up to his standard, but obviously was wrecking havoc in the backfield. Might have had a couple holds that weren't called as well, which has kind of been the case in recent weeks. And he made an impact against the run. And speaking of the run defense, I was saying all week I was worried because they hadn't played up to their standard much better. Now, obviously, the quarterback runs were pretty hit or miss, right? Even there were times where they seemed like they had Justin Fields dead to rights and still didn't tackle him. There was that third down that really sticks out to me where Elijah Ponder, Christian Gonzalez were right there, and he spins out. This was good practice because you're going to face Lamar Jackson at some point. So now you have this on tape. Things that you can improve. So that's a positive there. But I was impressed by the defense for the most part. The one thing I was disappointed by, I'll say, felt like A.D. Mitchell, and I kind of touched on it earlier, was open multiple times against Christian Gonzalez. And he's an explosive player. He was was he a first round pick?
second round.
Second round pick because he had the off-field stuff, but he was a first-round talent. Everybody knew it, but then I think you also saw today why. Now he's on his second team because he is inconsistent and doesn't take advantage of those. So I would have maybe liked to see a tighter performance there from Gonzo, just given what we know he's able to do. But I think the scrambling. I thought there were a few
scrambling and just the run game a little bit. And I know that Breece Hall didn't go for 102 touchdowns or anything, but it slowly started to creep in, especially in that first drive, and also just the mobile quarterback aspect. Like you need to contain mobile quarterbacks in this league. You talk about Lamar Jackson, you talk about Josh Allen, and I know that they contained Josh Allen a couple weeks ago, but it's not nearly bubbling up to worrisome just yet. But I just think in general, you're gonna, they've been so successful against the run this year. You want to truly get back to that dominant defensive front to be able to do that in order to kind of dictate games to go your way. The one other note on the defense I had. The pass breakup from Gonzo over in this corner where he so nonchalantly just knocked the ball away and didn't even celebrate. He was just like, that's it.
I was like, Gonzo, turn.
Yeah.
He was just like,
but it was like thrown at his waist. He like batted it away from his ass.
Right.
You know?
He was just like, oh,
don't touch me.
Justin Fields threw a football again. Okay. See you
later.
A
small aside there. It is interesting. You mentioned, AD Mitchell there, and just basically that 2024 draft class, and we know what happened with the Patriots there, but almost all of the other guys who were like, just listen, who were rumored to be in and around there haven't panned out. If you look at guys, everyone wanted them to take AD Mitchell, and the two guys the Patriots are supposedly trying to trade up for and whiffed on, Leggett and Coleman. Those guys haven't draped themselves in glory either. So it's really only the McConkey one that kills you, because that was the one that you direct when you moved out of that one. Where would we play Lad McConkey, said Taylor Kyles famously.
That was bad.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're right about everything else. 13 wins.
I was just going to say, he's right about so much. He can take the McConkey, and then the other one I always like to bring up is the crossover. Me and Alex were like Team Vrabel, and him and Brian were like Team Ben Johnson, and we got Vrabel.
No, like the Bears are kind of killing it, though. I wasn't even wrong.
You're right.
I wasn't wrong there.
I was Team Ben Johnson.
It just wasn't as right. You guys just weren't
Team
as
Ben
right.
Johnson. Also, I was.
But you've been on everything else, so you take that. I just need to.
I was Team Ben.
What was it? The injury? He had like
he's hurt again. Right
was it his neck? It was like a very serious injury.
Yeah, he had a tough injury.
It was his back or something like that.
You're right.
It was like some serious injury that people were concerned whether or not he was going to be able to stay on the field. But hey, I'll take my lad McConkey L. I'm glad he's killing it.
All right, let's keep talking about bad stuff, but not.
We're going to come back to Jaylen Polk. No matter what, we will always do Jaylen Polk and Lad McConkey.
Was it 6 degrees of separation from Jaylen Polk?
Yeah.
Like I said, when Drake Maye and Will Campbell are fishing at 90 years old, I'll be doing podcasts talking about Jaylen Polk. I guarantee it. I'm never not going to mention him. Speaking of bad,
get off the computer, Grandpa.
Yeah, Justin Fields. Justin Fields might not be a quarterback.
No,
might not.
And I hate saying that. I hate saying that about especially black quarterbacks.
You want to talk about
history is, but
you want to talk about being wrong? Being wrong. Evan Lazar and I doing draft coverage. So when he's still hanging around at 11 and 12. Oh, go get him! Go get him! Go get that guy! Go get him! So badly, wanted it so badly, and we're like, all right, Mac, I guess. But man, I was on the Justin Fields hype train. Oh, I can't watch it anymore. I can't.
No. It was bad. And I wonder, I'd like to see the tape to see how hard guys were sitting on routes, knowing that if it was going more than 10 yards in the air, it probably wasn't going to be completed.
As a player, his size, his athletic ability is outstanding.
He's unreal,
bro. It's crazy.
If he could just throw the football like this much better, he'd be a good player.
Or I'd like to see him change positions or something.
Like understanding, I think it's true. Like honestly, understanding the system and knowing where to go with the football too. Sometimes he just looks really lost out there. But I'm with you on the position change. I can see that too.
He's fun. When he runs. You're like, damn, bro. Like he's a great athlete, but
runner.
You can't throw a football. Not everybody can. That's okay. No shame in that.
Shout out Tim Tebow.
Yeah, no, God. That was a really fun Patriots training camp to cover. Team
I'm sure.
It was hilarious. That dude.
Are we still doing
couldn't
shout
play
outs
at
for
all.
good stuff? Are we focusing on bad? I don't even know how much.
No, I only want the good stuff. It's a win, guys. It's 8 wins in a row. They're 9-2 in the driver's seat.
Playoff games, baby.
We're headed to the playoffs. We know that much. Division is well in their sights here, and a very manageable record. It'd be stunning if they win any fewer than 12 games. Taking on the Bengals in 10 days. Maybe Joe Burrow, but probably not. Certainly Mike Petraglia. That's going to be kind of cool. But other than that, guys, what from this game are we missing that you wanted to talk about before we wrap it up?
The special teams coverage units, man. The Jets came in here having just returned 2 kicks for touchdowns last week. They were the top, I don't know if it was special teams overall, but at least return units in the NFL. And I asked Vrabel about that on the last question, what he saw. He was really impressed by them. Mentioned a rep where Brendan Schooler was triple teamed, something like that, and he was really impressed by them. Like, that was another part of this game. It was the run. I thought that the Jets were just going to keep run it 30 times no matter what, and eventually 1 or 2 might pop was my concern. And also I thought the special teams and the return units could make this one closer. And hey, like, it was a 1-score game at one point. Anything could have happened, but they did not let the areas where the Jets could have beat them be the reason that they won, but be a reason that maybe they were behind or struggled or whatnot. So a lot of credit to the Patriots kick coverage. It's something that Mike Vrabel specifically said they've been really good at this year. And it's hard to disagree. Jeremy Springer continues to do an outstanding job.
The only final thought I have, it's not nearly as in-depth as Taylor's, is that, we've said it more and more the last couple of weeks, but we really have a good football team here. Like, it's not, I don't think there's really much to sugarcoat. Now, I know it was the Jets, but the way they play, the way they showed up on a short week and were able to just, there was a palpable buzz in the area tonight, going in through Thursday, primetime game, new uniforms. It's all cliches, but it's all true. Like, it was really here tonight. I think that's fun to see, especially for fans, because, I know Patriots fans were yearning for three full seasons or 4 full seasons without Tom Brady. It feels like they're back to a team that can really compete and is so much more respected in the league now than they were even towards the end of the Belichick era. Like, sloppiness, there's none of that anymore. It's a real football team, and it's something to be excited about, something to be excited about covering, and something excited to watch on Sundays.
And the vibes here are so much better. Like, they were immaculate today. People were excited. You had like families on the Jumbotron. Yeah, everybody's singing Josie. Like, it's really fun. Like, I remember there were games in the past couple of years where we're sitting at Gronk. There have been games where we're sitting up there and it's like, honestly,
Fire Mayo chance last
year.
Fire
Mayo. Like, honestly, some games I was like, I wish I was home just because they're getting destroyed. It's not fun. It's like no one's scoring. It's all punts. I was like, I could be home covering this game. This is hard to watch because it's bad football. This was electric. Like, this was some of the most fun I've had covering the team, which is something to say this year because they've had some pretty fun matchups. But it's just nice when the place is rocking and people are having fun and you can see players are excited. Like, that's what it's all about. It sucks when they're on the other side of it, but right now we are not. So I'm enjoying
when we
it.
sit here, it's starting to get cold and it's in 30 degrees. And last year, we've talked about it on the show. We were sitting here like, get us off the screen.
Dude.
And now it's like, yeah, we're cold. My fingers are about to fall off, but it's fun talking about this team. It's exciting to cover. We could go 3 more hours on. Okay, don't do that. But it's fun, and we like, and now we have a space heater in front of us as well.
And last thing for me, Kairos Tonga, batted pass. My boy was double teamed, saw that ball come out, got his paw up. Good stuff. Good stuff.
That touch, the touchdown is coming soon.
It's coming. I'm gonna bet it every week now.
You're getting a dive play action. Pass to Tonga. It's happening. It's happening. One of these weeks. Yeah, I got nothing else to add.
Shout out Eric Gregory. His first career snap, he got to run stuff. So credit to him as well. That was pretty cool. I went up and I was like, because I didn't think I thought that was the first time he was on the field. I went up to him in the locker room. I was like, was that your first career snap? Because they signed him right before the season started. I think I claimed him on waivers. He was like, yeah, it was. Seems like a really nice guy. I hadn't spoken to him before. So that was really cool also.
Yeah, we're hoping Milton Williams, who Gregory had to sub in for, along others, is fine. I expect that he will be with the 10 days off, so we should be okay. And yeah, that's it's again Patriots 9-2, 27-14 win over the Jets. Quick shout out again to Prize Picks, our sponsor over here, #1 daily fantasy sports app all over North America. Download that app, use code CLNS, get 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. But we just told you about Omaha Steaks. We'll tell you again. Check it out, $35 off at omahasteaks.com when you use the code Patriots at checkout, in addition to their 50% site-wide sale. Patriots win, as we said. Cincinnati. We're on to Cincinnati. 10 days from now, Patriots will play the Bengals and we are looking forward to that.
Zannis, give us
10
one.
wins.
Give us one.
They have surpassed. They have
I can't
surpassed.
see you. Our monitor's broken.
They have surpassed their last 2 seasons worth of wins, improving to 9-2 on the season, which is truly bananas. I want to say thank you to all of you who stayed up late with us. And again, we apologize for the late starts. The guys are working hard in the field in Foxborough, covering the team. They got to talk to them after the game as soon as they gather up some of their intel so they can go off and write their stories. They come on the show here, so we apologize for the delay, but we do appreciate you guys sticking it out. If you want to catch up with what Mike Kadlick is writing, follow him on Twitter and check out his work over at si.com. And, of course, Taylor Kyles here at CLNS Media. And these guys will be back at it tomorrow with a Patriots Daily podcast as well. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Turn on those notifications every time we have a new video dropping, and there will be many of them. You can check it out with these guys over here on the Patriots Press Pass YouTube channel. Thanks to Amit out in the field, keeping it together. I wonder what's going on behind the scenes. It doesn't seems bad, but
he died.
but he's hanging on. And behind the scenes, back in his warm studio, Bailey Kennedy. Thank you again,
Bailey Kennedy.
Shut up, for all the production help, and thanks to you guys for hanging out and listening. We will see you guys next week. Take care.